Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Kruth. I'm an enterprise solutions architect with Atlassian. I'm joined here today with my colleague, Tarun Sapra, who is also an enterprise solutions architect with Atlassian. We both support Jira Line primarily. And today we want to talk to you about building solutions and specifically talk about creating a strategically aligned enterprise with Jira Line. So as you guys know, the mission of Atlassian is we believe that behind every great human achievement, there is a team. And so our mission is to unleash the potential of every team. And in this case, really is every team, not just our teams on the ground, but it goes back to our executive teams, our portfolio teams, all teams within our organization. Now, as we think about how we want to achieve our mission, we do this by helping our customers solve problems, really by thinking about what solutions they're going to be focused on. Here at Atlassian, we're starting to think more and more about this solutions kind of based mindset. We're trying to think about how do we holistically look at an area, a problem space for a customer. And so some of those that we have include things like Agile at Scale, ITSM, DevOps, and all of these run across a series of our different products that we have at Atlassian. There'll be Jira, Jira Line, Bitbucket, you name it. These products all kind of relate to creating a solution-based focus. Now, for today, Tarun and I are going to talk to you about really this concept of an Agile at Scale solution and how we basically look at Agile at Scale and look to help create that strategically connected enterprise. For our Agile at Scale solution journey, we've got this diagram I want to just familiarize yourself with a little bit. Here, what you're seeing on the screen is that bottom is going to be our platform. These are different products that we have. Things like, just like you saw, Jira, Confluence, Jira Align. These are the different products that we use to support our business. But when we think about Agile at Scale, and we think about trying to create a connected enterprise, we also want to think about the value that comes out too. And that's where these next few layers play out. This is where we start thinking about team and essentially how do we want to help support the team enablement? How do we move to program? And we think about program enablement, portfolio enablement, and then ultimately enterprise enablement. For us as Jira Line, as well as solutions architect, our goal is to empower groups like your COE, your Lean Agile Center of Excellence, to find ways to best optimize the value you're getting out of our products. And that's done through things like service packages, but also teaching you through some of our things like our solutions blueprints, those sorts of things. How do you get value out of those products? So this is the premise of how we're going to be starting today, because today's session is going to be focused around how do we kind of build this connection between starting out an engagement to actually getting strategically connected value. And so we're going to do this having a little fun. We're going to do a little role play. So Tarun, I'm going to pass it over to you so we can kind of go into this.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thanks, Mark, for passing the baton to me. So let's look at the scenario that we have here today. So I will be me, that is myself, playing the role of a Jira Line solution architect. So I'm going to be, working with Mark, the CIO, who's looking for some help when it comes to aligning strategy and execution. So Mark, how about we do that switch?
Yeah, let's do that. Give me just 1 second here. All right, I think I'm ready to play the role.
Great. So like every good CIO, right? So you want to keep track of how the teams are performing, how the work is going on across the organization. But at the same time, I came across the statement that you made recently that you're struggling to get a holistic view of the progress across major initiatives. At the same time, objectives gradually turn into stale data, into Excel sheets. And this is something which almost all large organizations struggle with. And the teams are delivering outputs. They say they are doing their story points, they're delivering the outputs, but there is no alignment to the business outcomes. So would you want to share something a bit more on this?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the big things I see in my organizations is that we have regular status reports that come out, and I get those and I get a good sense of how things are going. But I also know that the moment I put that down, things have become stale at that point. And really, as we set kind of strategic objectives for our organizations, I really have no way to connect those objectives back down into the work being done. I think we're making progress, but I really struggle to kind of figure out whether or not we really are making progress on those. I don't know, I have this bad feeling that we're doing a lot of work, but maybe we're not getting the right value out of it. So that's really what I'm trying to do, is connect that, execution at the team layer to that strategic alignment we're searching for with me and my peers.
Exactly. So that's an interesting problem to solve. And honestly, it is quite common in large organizations where data turns stale and you're unable to, track the value, track the business outcomes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the Jira Align service offerings, how we're going to be working with your LACE, that is Lean Agile Center of Excellence, and how we're going to be rolling out Align and helping you discover the value that Align gives you at every level of the organization.
Beautiful.
All right. So where we start with Jira Align, as you can see, is with the Jumpstart package. So we expect there is standardization at the team tools level, and not just from a tooling perspective, right? Because every transformation is the right mix of people, practices, and tools. So when we talk of starting with Jira Align, in the spirit of Agile, we start small but think big. So we start with a 3-month engagement wherein I, as a Jira Align SA, work with its core team stakeholders, your Lean Agile Center of Excellence, in onboarding couple of programs or couple of ARTs, basically, that we call as Jumpstart, which helps them discover the value that Align brings and how we can support the digital transformation of your organization. So as part of the Jumpstart, as you just saw, we primarily focus on backlog refinement, setting expectations on the roadmap, tracking the progress for a program, and of course, using the built-in program board to execute a PI planning and to perform a PI planning session while leveraging Jira Align. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go to the backlog page, wherein you can actually see how we can refine backlogs in Jira Align. So Mr. CIO, this is something which is really nice in Align, because now you can perform backlog prioritization for, let's say, using WSJF out of the box. So you don't need to, it makes the process completely transparent. So for those who don't know what is WSJF, so it is weighted shortest job first. In layman terms, basically, it helps you identify the features that are delivering the highest business value. So this is something which helps you, instead of the person who can shout the loudest or who is getting paid the most. So this is something that you can do in Align. You can just go to, let's say, for example, if I want to do it for this is the the enterprise hierarchy, where you have the portfolio, digital services, the programs, and the teams. So if I go to the mobile program for this particular program increment, so this is the top navigation bar. I can just go to my WSDIF, and if, let's suppose, I place the one which is 20 above, I can do a prioritization, can do an apply. And just like we have sprint planning, right, where the team gets together, they estimate, the estimation is relative. In the same way, we can do the the WSJF prioritization in sync up ceremonies. And this is how it makes the process completely transparent of what exactly is delivering the highest value to the business in the upcoming PI.
This is really great, Tarun. I think one of the things I really can keyed away on this one is that I have a single view of all my backlogs here in Jira Line. I think that's one thing I struggle with today, is be able to see what work is there and what's even prioritized within a period of time. So this is great to see.
So let's suppose the backlog has been prioritized now. Let's move to the roadmap, where the product team can set the delivery expectation for the upcoming quarter. Why I say set? Because a lot of times I see people trying to track the progress on roadmap. You can do that in a way, but there are different reports, which I'm going to be walking you through, which are more suited for that. But roadmap is something wherein you set the delivery expectations at all levels of the organization, whether it is program, portfolio, or strategic themes, for example. So here I'm at the roadmap view. I'm looking at the features basically, and then in the features, there are 2 dimensions of time that I can select. Either I can select month by quarter or sprint by program increment. So if I switch to sprint by program increment, I can basically set when do I want the feature to be delivered, whether it is S26. These are the anchor sprints for PI. So here you can basically set, and the red dots that you see are roll-ups of the stories basically that the teams are working in real time. So if a feature is expected to be delivered at S25, but there is a Scrum team that is delivering a child story at S26, there's a planning issue. So this is something that you can do on the roadmap view. And I'm not going to go into too much details, but you can slice and dice the data in many ways on the roadmap view.
I really love this in terms of the visuals I have. Beforehand on my backlog, I could see a list. This actually gives me the idea to be able to see actual progress on work, which is really powerful for me, especially when I sit in things like status meetings with my different leaders to be able to
Exactly.
understand essentially how is work progressing across a period of time. So this is awesome to see.
All right. So this was about how we set the expectations. Now let's look at how we actually track the work and use the program board in Align. So I'm going to go to the program board here. So the program board is basically, we have seen a lot of customers using a whiteboarding solution, which is fine, but it doesn't give you real-time feedback. But here, this is connected to your Jira instance, giving you real-time feedback. If a feature is red, it might be that a child story has missed the S27 anchor date deadline, basically, of the PI, and that's why it is red, right? So what you see here is a combination of dependencies, objectives, features, and the color coding itself is when you click on an object, it is self-explanatory. So if I click on, for example, 3422, it's going to tell me why it is red. So there are conflicting dependencies associated with this feature. So there are dependencies associated with this feature, and the status of the dependency is blocked. So there is something that needs attention from the release train engineer or the program manager. So that is something that needs to be done.
So this is really great to see from a program board perspective. I know our teams use these, our different programs or different arts do. And so being able to look at this and just get an immediate sense of status and understanding if anything's in trouble is huge. And that way we don't have to review the things that looks like that are in green, but we can now focus on the things that really do need our attention, things that are in red, orange, those sorts of things. So this gives us some immediate real-time feedback, which is something we desperately are looking for. So this is great.
Of course, this is a view wherein you see a lot of colors, so you can focus on the red. But if you want more details, you can always switch to the normal view, wherein you see them in the form of the cards, where you see the objectives, the team and program objectives, the features that are being contributed by multiple teams. So this is basically wherein you can track what is going on across the program. For an RT, it is important. I'm going to move to now program room, which is basically your, just like in a let's say you have a command center when it comes to any NASA spacecraft. Let's say on the ground you have a command center. In the same way, program room is your command center for what is happening in a program across all the moving parts of the program. So whether it is your dependencies, risks, objectives, action item, impediments, you have everything on this program board, and all of these gadgets is something that you can actually configure. So there is a lot of information here. I'm not going to go into too much details, but I'm just going to go through some of the important gadgets. So just to keep everybody on the, and this is, I really like this. This is program increment checklist. So this is how Jira Align can support your process as well. So if you have new agile coaches, or your team is, or your organization, let's say, is taking baby steps towards agile at scale, you can create a really nice checklist for everybody to know what are the critical steps that they need to perform for a successful PI planning event. So you can configure this checklist. You have all the tasks. Each of the tasks is linked to the relevant screens of Jira Align. You see all the dependencies on the right. You see the impediments as well, the features, the objectives, all the teams that are contributing towards the particular program in this program increment. You see the team load versus capacity, and this is based on historical data. So whatever was the historical velocity of a team, we multiply it by the number of anchor sprints, and then based on the current estimation, we show it in real time, whether the teams will be able to deliver or not. So this is again team progress, and all these gadgets you can move around if you want. So all of these gadgets you can move around.
I really love this view, because what this gives me the ability to see is essentially all my work for given, in this case, PI for this particular program. That's something we struggle with today. We use our program board as a place, but it really doesn't contain all that information, like things like our, how are we actually doing in terms of load versus capacity? What is the status of like any action items we have out there, or even, yeah, we can see dependencies and stuff. It appears to be on the actual program board, but here it gives me a little bit more details. So I really do love what I'm seeing here. So this is fantastic.
All right, Mr. CIO. So we have seen basically how Jira Align can support you in your digital transformation by a Jumpstart program. I have been working with you for 3 months, closely with the core stakeholders, your agile coaches, your LACE, and now we have been able to achieve a short win, so that teams trust the tool now. They understand the value that it brings to the table. So what we do beyond the Jumpstart, generally we expand to multiple programs, because it is important that we have the data flowing into a line from a higher number of teams, higher number of programs, greater number of programs, so that you can create nice holistic views of progress across multiple programs. So how we do it is basically we go beyond the Jumpstart, we go into expand to programs. And in this expand to programs, we onboard more programs, we onboard more ARTs. Basically, we follow the train the trainers approach, wherein we're going to be training the internal champions who will then be leading the rollout activities. So it's not just going to be me, but I will be supported now with the internal champions that are created as part of the Jumpstart program. So this is what we're going to be looking at for, let's say, next 3 to 6 months. Expand to programs, onboarding of more trains, onboarding of more programs, and helping you get nice visibility across the work that is being delivered by those programs. So let me show you a couple of Jira Line views that come in pretty handy when it comes to tracking the progress. So for the Jumpstart till now, we have tracked the progress of a program for a PI. Now let's see how we're going to be tracking progress and tracking value across multiple programs, basically across the portfolio for a specific program increment for a quarter, basically. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to a worktree view. So in the worktree view, it helps us give insights into how things are progressing, and it also gives us some really nice numbers when it comes to roll up of story points, from stories to features to portfolio epics, basically. So here, what I can do, let me select the whole portfolio that is digital services. These are the relevant programs: AI, blockchain, mobile. And then these are the different Scrum or Kanban teams that are contributing towards these programs. So Align supports both Scrum and Kanban teams. So, and we're going to be seeing basically how those numbers roll up at the portfolio level. So now you can see for this particular PI, how you can track the progress across all the programs. So whether it is web, whether it is blockchain, whether it is AI, and these numbers are coming in real time. So if I have to hover over any portfolio epic, it will show me, okay, it is 82% done. That is 177 of 216 total points were delivered. That is what accepted. And you can drill down from the portfolio epic down to the features, down to the relevant stories, actually. So this is something which is, and this is integrated in real time with your Jira. So as the teams are delivering stories, you're going to be seeing that reflected in real time on Worktree.
This is great. Just being able to see holistically, because it appears at the very top here, that kind of gives me an overall status,
Exactly.
and then I can go drill down into each of the programs. So this is awesome, because as I set up portfolios and these groups, I know that we have 6, 7 different programs supporting this particular portfolio. Instead of trying to piece it all together, I can now go to here and actually just see it all connected up and say, how are we doing? Not just how is each program doing independently. That's awesome.
Exactly. And to show you something really cool here that I personally really love it, because for large organizations, we have a lot of stakeholders who might not be, their work might not be aligned 100% to the hierarchy that you see here. But for somebody, for example, for a large banking organization, there might be an ongoing initiative, which is GDPR compliance, for example. So, and there are a lot of, stakeholders that is, for them, it is very important to track the progress of those initiatives that is across the organization or even multiple portfolios. So what you can do here in the extra config, so you can mention the strategic themes that are important for your work. For example, in this case, I choose operationalize AI. So this is something which is an important ongoing strategic theme for the organization, and multiple programs are contributing towards it across even multiple portfolios. So if I select it, I do an apply here. So now this work tree, what it's going to do, it's only give me the deliverables, the work items that are contributing to that particular strategic theme. So you now see from 4 programs, we are down to only 2, because only these 2 programs are contributing towards that strategic theme. So this is something which is really powerful for large number of middle and senior managers in agile organizations that are actually responsible for tracking and delivering complex initiatives that are spread across the organization and might not fit one-to-one in your HR or value delivery organization, but that is spread across.
This is awesome. I really do like, I like that ability to drill down into specific areas. Awesome.
Yeah. So as part of the expand to programs, because we focus on onboarding of the programs, but of course, each and every individual program can leverage the program board, program views, program room views that we already shared with you before. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move back to show you what are the next steps in our journey, basically, what are the next steps beyond, what lies beyond expand to programs, basically. All right, Mr. CIO. So up till now, we have gone to jumpstart, then to expand to programs, and now we're going to scale vertically. So when we talk of vertical scaling, we focus on, we have a service package called expand to portfolio. That is primarily, it's going to be supporting your LPM practices, lean portfolio management practices. And from a, the LPM perspective, even if you're not there yet, let's say you're still taking your baby steps when it comes to certain aspects of portfolio management, still you can leverage Jira Align, because when we talk of LPM, there are 3 primary dimensions of lean portfolio management. You have your strategic funding, that is wherein you have the ability to pivot and persevere, and then accordingly you plan your funding. It could be quarterly or it could be every 6 months, but your funding is basically depending on funding of value streams, for example, instead of projects. That is one dimension. The second dimension is agile portfolio operations, wherein you have certain aspects of portfolio operations wherein you will be leveraging Jira Align for that. So even if you don't have those set up, but Align can guide you, it can provide you the guardrails that are available basically in guiding you through that process. And then you have your lean governance that are basically your, let's say, your ceremonies that are required for running your LPM smoothly, your portfolio operations smoothly. So I'm going to be showing you some screens in Jira Line that support these 3 dimensions of lean portfolio management.
Fantastic.
So what I'm going to be starting with, right? So when we work with customers, we realize that when financials are involved, they might not be very comfortable in, just starting with financials like in a jiffy, right? But one of the things that I feel gives the quickest win to customers when it comes to LPM is creating a mature portfolio Kanban lifecycle. Because if they have that, they can use that in their sync ceremonies, their portfolio governance, to understand what exactly is delivering the highest value for the business and what should be developed and what should be decomposed into features so that the teams can start working on them as part of their PI planning and execution. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go to the backlog view here. On the backlog view, I'm going to select the epic backlog, that is your portfolio epics. And then in Align, what you can do, you can create a portfolio Kanban lifecycle and associate it with certain programs or portfolios. So for example, if I go to Kanban, go to a Kanban view here, I can see basically the various items, the portfolio epics that are in this Kanban, whether it is funnel, reviewing, analyzing, portfolio backlog. So each of these steps in your Kanban lifecycle involves certain, seeing through the work. Okay, what exactly is giving you the highest value? What is the lean business case associated with each of the portfolio epic? Because each portfolio epic can have a lean business case associated with it. So you can basically see, okay, what is the lean business case associated with a certain portfolio epic, right? So let's see a couple of them. So let me click on this one. And if I go to the benefits tab, I can see, okay, what is the lean business case? Who is the Epic owner? When did it enter the funnel? What is the expected end date, the description, the success criteria? So this is something that you can see, and this data is something that you can use during your lean governance ceremonies to slowly graduate the work up to the point that it comes in the implementing stage, wherein you decide, okay, let's decompose that into the features, right?
I absolutely just love what I'm seeing here. Just this ability to actually visualize the flow of work. Again, goes back down to backlogs are great things. They give us a good view of what's there, but in terms of like where things stand in their development, that one's huge.
So, I mean, what I'm going to show you next is you're going to love it, because backlogs are great and the flow here is great. But one of the things I find sometimes from a portfolio leadership perspective, this flow is one dimensional. So what I'm going to show you is something which will help you make right prioritization decisions, because you see many data points all together, how they're contributing to the business and what will give the highest business value. So let me go to that report, let's say, or that view, which is called Epics Balancing. A lot on this, but this will really help you in prioritizing your work when it comes to because think of each portfolio epic as a bag of money. Where do you want to spend it, right? And this is where this really helps you. So what you see here is on the left axis, x-axis basically, y-axis basically is the effort swag, a tentative estimation of how much of the effort is required for a portfolio epic. On the x-axis here, you see the value score, a tentative estimation, again, a rough estimate, how much value it's going to deliver. Each of the color of the bubble represents what is the strategic driver that it belongs to. So in Align, you can define certain strategic drivers of what exactly is important for the business. Think of it as run the business versus change the business. What is giving you, keeping the lights on versus what's going to make you the next billion-dollar company or multi-billion-dollar company for that matter of fact. So innovation versus keeping the lights on.
This is great because what it gives me the ability to do, and this one is to, again, look at different intersections of value. Because for me, I sometimes I know what the size is to, or at least a rough order of magnitude for what we want to invest in something like an Epic. But where that Epic is contributing, even just our ability to execute as it's listed in here, and how that aligns strategically, I can see here that I want to definitely be looking at those things that have, lower engineering effort, higher value if I can.
Exactly.
Those things that are in other quadrants, like for me, anything that has a high engineering effort and a low strategic value, I really need to be examining those to find out, should I be doing those anymore? Are those worth it? So this is a great view.
Exactly. So the large bubbles that you see on the bottom right are basically going to give you great results in a short amount of time, because this basically means high value, low effort, and the ability to execute is high. The bubble size is basically your ability to execute. And when you're doing these prioritization and creating these data points, you can involve your senior architects who have a good idea of what is let's say, the technical challenge that will be required for delivery of this strategic initiative or this portfolio epic, basically. And then you can see, okay, what should be the ability to execute. So if I click on any of these, you can see these data points on every. So this is something that the portfolio leadership should be doing regularly in their sync ceremonies, so that we always know what exactly is delivering highest value to the business, basically. All right, Mr. CIU. So we have seen basically some certain dashboards, certain views when it comes to expand to portfolio, and how Jira Align can support you in your LPM journey. So let's see certain aspects of Align beyond LPM at the level of strategy, at the level of let's say C-level executives, how we can actually use Align for that. So this is something which is another service package that we have. This is Transformation Team Power Up. This is something that involves an SA working with the LACE to help them in standardizing these processes, because of course Align alone is not a panacea. It requires the support of the teams, the team of teams, the portfolio team. So this is again a service package that we have that which focuses primarily on standardization, governance, people, and practices. But once we have it, let's say once we have gone through it, what I'm going to be showing you now, the views, we can expect the strategy level folks to be using them in Align, and that is something which is a level beyond the portfolio as well. So what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be going to the an OKR tree. So we know that how important OKRs are, and this was also one of the challenges, that you had outlined in your problem statement, that you're not able to align your business outcomes to the outputs being produced by the teams, right? So let me go to the OKR.
Yeah, that's a huge one. I'm excited to see what you got here.
So we can define objectives in Align at different levels, whether it is team, program, portfolio. So I'm going to choose a portfolio objective here, basically. Let me see. Yeah. So here on the right, you can see basically how that portfolio objective is, going down to the program and the team level, starting from the portfolio leadership. So this helps really nicely in aligning everybody to the common mission of the organization. So you start basically right at the top. What is your yearly goal? What is your portfolio objective? And then what is your, for example, from those portfolio objectives, you can create program objectives. And from those program objectives, you can actually create the work deliverables, that is features. So when the product team is creating features, they can use those program and portfolio objectives that are derived from your yearly goals to make sure that whatever work they're presenting before the teams from a business perspective is of highest value, basically, to the organization.
This is great, because I think one of the things that we've been working on is we started moving into this OKRs, objectives, key results area as a result of our lack of ability to connect things up. But we were still struggling at how do we connect work up here. And so what I'm seeing on the screen is I've got down to team objectives, going to program, going to portfolio, going to like our senior organization level objectives. And with these, can I tie my work to that then too? Does that actually get connected?
Yeah, the coolness of OKR does not just end here. You take it a level further. So what you can see here is basically the work progress. So all these OKRs are tied to the work progress. So if I hover over them, so you see the score is, so this score is basically coming from your key results that you set. So you can say I've delivered 70% of the work, but the score is just 0.5. So that basically means that there is a gap between the outcomes and the outputs. And this is something that is happening in real time, right? You can see the progress of the work versus how much progress you have made against the key results for that objective.
Oh, that's amazing. Because I think that's one of the things we've always struggled with is we may give ourselves a pat on the back saying, hey, we think we hit an objective, but did we do a lot of extra work that may not have been needed to hit that objective? And so with this idea of checking in on, OKRs on a regular cadence, we can now actually see how are we doing from that key result progress to actually, it looks like the work progress. So this is the ability to connect up our enterprise is huge here. I love what I'm seeing.
As you can see here, right? So the work done here is 100%, but of course the key result progress is just 0.6. So, and this color coding is, of course, it depends on the score. So the ones which are 0.7 and beyond, you will see them in green. And you can actually then, track, okay, how my key results are progressing and why is it that the key results are always, let's say, even if that's the case, why some of the key results are 0.5 or 0.6, even when the teams are delivering 100% outputs. So that is something that gives you great insight into your work breakdown. And then the thing that you need to talk with your product team, that there is some gap somewhere between strategy and the work being presented to the teams. All right, so let me go to the strategy room. So just like we have program room, we have strategy room, we have team room. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be going to the strategy room. And for this room, we use certain dimensions, certain point of time, which we call a snapshot. So this is just like you have PIs. We create snapshots, which are generally year-wide. So here I can create a snapshot, which is, let's say, I would select a snapshot, corporate strategy 2021. And I can see basically the progress of all the work, whether it is the strategic themes. You can see, okay, none of them has been complete out of 6. Portfolio epics, features, and you can see your complete strategic pyramids. And the thing that you were talking about just now, the OKRs and the themes and the deliverables, right? You can see them against one another. Just think of them as, two ladders on a wall. So you see the OKRs, objectives, and then you see the.
That's fantastic. Just to visualize that there too. So like here's something where from that snapshot concept where we set out yearly plans with an organization. Exactly. So I can set up a yearly plan and be able to look across it. And peers, I can look across multiple portfolios with this then too. Is that correct? Exactly. So I could look across my entire technology organization. I could look at this to kind of get an idea of how things are rolling up. So as I think about like what I'm going to be using Align for as a CIO, this is probably one of these screens that I may come in to glance at progress as we're going.
Exactly. So this is something that gives you progress across multiple portfolios, across the whole organization pretty much. And then you can basically see how the OKRs are progressing as well. And again, we have this OKR tree view here as well. And then you can also drill down into the strategic themes, right? How the themes are progressing, what is the mission, vision, values. So this is where we are when it comes to our, the onboarding of your organization with Jira Align, helping you in your digital transformation. We have gone through pretty much all the service packages right now. And of course, we are pretty much, the idea is once we go beyond all the service packages, we have created some really nice internal champions in your organization for Jira Align. The agile coaches are now well versed with Align, not just from a tooling perspective, but also they're leveraging Align to set the guardrails of the process, and also rolling out certain practices and process from business agility perspective that might not have been possible. But with Align, you have the data, you have the tool, and now it has become much more easier to roll out those processes. So with that, I would like to send you my good regards, and I'm going to give the mic back to Mark.
First, let me go ahead and get back into my normal character. So take that coat off here.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm in a good spot now.
Stepping down from the
exactly. All right. So what we kind of went through over the last little bit is we've gone through and we talked about essentially what that journey could look like. I was playing a CIO. I was playing someone who is interested in trying to connect their organization up, but ultimately the tooling I have may not have supported me. Now, tools aren't everything. Tools don't create solutions. They're an aspect of solutions. And it took things like talking through those different layers of value to be able to explore that. We talked about things like our Jumpstart, our expand programs, our expand portfolio. These aren't all of our packages, but could be a pathway that you take within an organization to be able to unlock that value at each of these layers. And so we wanted to share this with you so you can start thinking about your journey on building solutions. So if you need help building your own solution journey out, if you're curious on like, all right, hey, that was a really cool demo of like how I could use Jira Line at different layers to see how I can solve those solution level problems I've got. We got a couple places we want to recommend you reach out to. First, go to the website, Atlassian.com, head over to the Jira Line product page, and then click that get in touch button. If you haven't been working with any of us yet, that's a great place to go and just kind of learn, reach out for some feedback. Also, if you are working with someone already, someone like an enterprise advocate, reach out to them, ask them, hey, I'd like some help with kind of thinking about where I'm going with Jira Line, what that kind of journey looks like, and they'll be glad to help you. And then also, people like myself and Tarun, we're solutions architects or SAs, as well as your technical account managers. If you are working with us already, we're another good group to be able to engage with and kind of talk a little bit about how you can get value from your product investment. Because that's ultimately what we're looking for is in the end, it's not just about the products you have, but the problems you're solving with those products. So with that said, thank you guys from Tarun and I. We had a blast talking with you all today and have fun at Team 2021. Bye, everybody.